And I just want to speak to the topic, sorry, of Alex Pereira again. I do think he still needs a break. I think the UFC should build more hype up for a clash between Uncle Life and Alex. I don't think it's a fight that should just be thrown at fans. Besides, it's being disrespectful to the fans of the fighters. I think they are giving up on a big payday in exchange for good old-fashioned elbow grease. I think the UFC should try to save the Rockmanov fight first, as Shavkat. Is there absolutely no one in the welterweight division that will stand up to face Shavkat on short notice? Either the welterweight division seriously lacks any form of bravery, or there's a bit too much of opportunism going on, which is like waiting for that call from Hunter to see how much the bag is. Fighters are demanding too much in pay to save the card, which sees us being fed Uncle Life and Pereira prematurely. I still think it's snooty from the welterweight division, but if Alex wants to make an undeniable case for #1 pound for pound and fighter of the year, this is how he does it, and who are we to get in his way? So, like I said, it's his decision. He's the fighter. His name is on the card. His name gets called, and his name gets screamed, either and you or and you know. And I think if he wants to put himself in this position to kind of make that history and build his legacy and forge it, then who are we to get in his way, you know? And I just want to say this again. Tom Aspinall is no longer the interim champion the moment the bells rings at UFC 309, Jones versus Miocic. Topuria is better than McGregor, like I said, and McGregor could have ever been. The 12-6 and bigger, 12-6 elbow and grounded opponent rules are live. And I have huge respect for Ian Gary fighting Buckley at UFC champion when he deserves a title shot. I think Ian Gary's a real stand-up guy and a future champion. I think he's flying the Irish flag high in Conor's absence. And what was interesting was the exchange with CR7 and Ilya. I think not just MMA media but the other major celebrities are noticing it as well, which is the UFC has the opportunity to take over being the most culturally relevant sport of the time. I think watching Ronaldo at the PFL confirmed it for me that we are on the right track. Ronaldo sees already that with Ilya in the UFC being basically signed to Madrid, Topuria has a huge fan base and a cultural relevance that Ronaldo wishes he garnered as quick. I think Ilya's response is very regal as well, signaling the passing of the baton, so to speak. I think MMA media grabbing hold of the story means that it's already confirmed, as is the nature with the truth story and news in the media. It follows in that order. We are seeing a cultural shift in real time. I think it's up to the UFC to either be a witness or the reason for the documentary. With that being said, I'm seeing a lot of more chatter about a Khamzat versus DDP fight. Like I think this fight could happen a lot sooner than a lot of us anticipated. Definitely a lot of excitement for this one. I'm curious to see what Khamzat's strategy would be to defeat the Duplessis. Like I said, I just think with the addition of the new rules as well as the ground game and high level striking of Dricus, I don't know how Khamzat is going to pull off a win. I think the South African has superior strength and power, especially at middleweight. This is without discussing fighting styles. I think they both rush their opponents, and I guess we will have to wait and see how that plays out. But I think Khamzat is used to his opponents being afraid of his grappling. I think Duplessis welcomes this, and that changes the game. We haven't seen Chimaev use a great deal of elbows, and there's a lot we haven't seen from Chimaev as well, which is why I really feel like I'm doing a good job at selling him shorts and a horrible job at doing him justice. Remember, there isn't a lot we've seen from Khamzat as well. We feel like he's been around forever, yes, but he has not had that many fights, relatively speaking. Most of his time at the UFC has been riddled with health issues, weight concern, and then fight delays. These are all very unlucky, but this brings up his arsenal. Maybe and quite possibly Khamzat is hiding a few tools underneath his jacket. This is more than plausible. We haven't seen many of his opponents actually challenge Khamzat. We haven't seen the need for him to go the distance much either. I worry about him having to go 5 rounds with that extra weight though. I'd be curious to investigate the relation of his previous and current strength levels since the jump to middleweight. I still think we don't study or discuss Khamzat's striking enough. I know he has done a bunch of training since the Burns fight. I know he has polished a bunch of things up and added new weapons to his arsenal. At this level, the need to constantly improve move is certain. I just still think this matchup favors Dricus despite all. I may need some conversation and tape from Khamzat to sway my opinion, but for now my money is on DDP. And yeah, it's like, look, it's not about me liking Dricus because we both South African. It's like, even if I was American, I would still back Dricus. It's not even about the odds. It's like, watch the tape, guys. Like, watch the tape, look at how the man fights, and then you'll get the answer yourself.